We're back in Sacramento, California, speaking with Donnell Brown, president of the National Grape Research Alliance. We're mainly talking with her about the effects our altering weather is having on wine grape growing, and how researchers are working to help growers adapt to this new reality. Believe it or not, it may not all be bad. One of the unintended consequences of shifting weather patterns is the ability of certain regions to produce grape varieties they've never been able to grow before. This is also creating a resurgence of grape production in areas that were once prominent for wine growing. On a related note, here's a piece of trivia. Before Prohibition, which U.S. state grew the most wine grapes?
I really think of these emerging wine regions as sort of the future of the industry. They are places where people are excited to sample the fruit of the vine, literally and figuratively, of their neighbor. They really celebrate the local product. They stand behind it. They rally around it. And it's a beautiful thing. They're open to a Baco Noir or something that they've never heard of that was specially developed for cool climates. Missouri, Virginia, these were original wine regions before Prohibition. I think Missouri was the biggest wine region before Prohibition. I also want to say, shout out to table grapes. There are table grapes grown in places around the country where you wouldn't expect them. In Minnesota, there's even table grapes grown in Vermont. North Dakota is working on some table grape varieties. Arkansas has some really nice varieties.
Speaking of table grapes, if you haven't tried the cotton candy grapes, then you're missing out. It literally tastes like cotton candy. ARS didn't create the cotton candy grape, but for over 100 years, we've been developing new varieties of grapes. In fact, the first table grape cultivar was developed in 1923 in Fresno, California, at the USDA experiment vineyard. We even developed the popular seedless grape, which, by the way, there are seeds, they're just very tiny. ARS scientists developed over half of the top seedless grape varieties grown. So pick up a bag today. Okay, let's get back to wine grapes. Earlier, Brown mentioned how AI technology could help speed up breeding new grape varieties and help with mechanized picking and harvesting. But how else could AI help wine growers?
I think AI has a lot of promise in the decision support aspect of farming. There has been a lot of work done in variable rate management where you understand all of the data around your farm. So this corner has a deeper water table or a more shallow water table, or this part of the soil is drier or more acidic. You're using a lot of technology to scan the vineyard and understand all these layers of data and squash it together and then use that information to make decisions about how to farm.
Later on in the season, you'll hear about some pretty cool AI tools that are helping wine growers figure out how much water their vines are getting all over their field. Some are using data from satellites to set their irrigation schedules. Others are using AI to remotely calculate the daily crop water stress index. This helps growers determine when and how much water to add to their vines for optimal growth and yield.
There's a lot of work going on in estimating yield. It's a very hard thing to do in grapes because grapes are grown on a double-sided trellis and grape bunches are three-dimensional things, and there could be 100 grapes in a bunch. So having a camera or a sensor look at grape bunches hanging on a trellis and know what it's looking at and to count bunches and yield has been sort of the holy grail of research for a long time. And why you would want to know that is because at the end of the season, you need to make sure you have tank space to bring fruit in. You need to make sure you have labor and trucking. There's a lot of resource allocation that goes into harvesting the grapes. There's a lot of reason you would want to know how much fruit you're going to end up with at the end of the season. And if you could know that really early, like months and months before you harvest the grapes, you'd be way ahead of the game.
ARS researchers work closely with NGRA to not only find ways to improve grape growing, but connect with the wine growers and find out what's their most pressing needs. They co-sponsor workshops to gain insight into the real-time challenges that wine growers are facing, so we can ensure that our research is relevant and beneficial, even if it takes time to come to fruition.
We have quite a close relationship with ARS and really enjoy our interaction. There's some comfort in sort of longevity in a research plan that you can initiate with ARS. You have a longer time to get those results that you need to really understand how science works. The other thing that we've found success with working with ARS is expressing needs for brand new programs. So ARS has been quite receptive and responsive to needs for sort of longer term investments.
In addition to long-term research projects, ARS researchers are becoming more agile, which allows them to quickly pivot their resources to tackle an emerging issue, such as an invasive pest infestation. Growers are dealing with a pest called the mealybug that spreads viruses that can wipe out entire vineyards. Earlier in this season, we learned how we're using the lure of sex to reduce the mealybug population. Pretty wild. But back to this interview. Before I let Brown go, I asked her what she thought the future of wine grape research looked like.
There's a lot of behind the scenes research going on in biotechnology. And what I mean by that is using biotechnology as a research tool to understand gene function. Through some of the more advanced genetic technologies, you can start to understand not just the region, but where exactly in the genetic code a trait lives. We do anticipate more use of biotechnology in the background to speed up research. There's a lot of promise in technology to advance the industry. There's also a lot of work going into sustainability practices, regenerative agriculture. There's a lot of work going into weather research. Growers are seeing more weather chaos. Weather is so erratic. Storms are so severe. Everything's on a higher scale, a more destructive scale. A lot of growers are saying, I don't really know how to make these decisions anymore. Like, I've been doing things the way I've been doing them for a long time, and nothing seems to be quite right anymore.
Wine growers are looking for answers in real time, and researchers are providing guidance on best management practices to help get through these challenging times. But wine grape research is often a marathon, not a sprint.
It takes time to understand how these things impact vineyards. You can't just do a trial and say, in 1 year, we have some answers. It all takes time, and we're sort of racing to figure out things as fast as we can. But research is a long game, and trying to figure things out in real time is challenging. Grape growers rely on research to solve these problems, and they view science as a means to advance the industry.
Join us for our next episode, where we travel to space to gain a better picture of water usage in our vineyards.